You joked with the women in the first episode, it's their first time at the mansion. It's your first time at the mansion, despite being on the show. You didn't shoot there. What was it like walking into that space?
I was pissed because the budget's gone way up since mine.
Of course.
I'm watching Susie. Yeah, like she's like riding a helicopter and landing it onto a yacht, like Russian oligarch style, and then getting out and like popping champagne in a hot tub. I'm like, dude, I rode a donkey.
Yeah.
It's not even close. No, honestly, it was super nostalgic. It was crazy. It's funny, like when you do things, especially things, quite a long time ago, you always think you remember everything. When I got to the mansion, I had this like tidal wave of like memories and emotions come back. Like kind of standing off to the side and watching the limos pull up and the women were getting out, and Clayton was there, and I was thinking, oh my God, like I got nervous just like I was when I was standing there years ago. And then at the rose ceremony, it was the same thing. I'm getting PTSD because I'm like, don't forget their names. Don't do it. Of course, I did that in season 5.
I was going to say it's one of the that clip recycles online every year. It feels like when the show comes back, they're like, "Hey, everyone, remember when Jesse Palmer said the wrong name?"
You can't blame you for that, though. There's
too many women.
So many women.
People like just won't. It's like I keep thinking like it's like a bad record in sports. You want like the guy that threw the most interceptions in a game is dying for someone to break that record. I just need someone to forget someone's name again, but it never happens.
Right.
And you're right. Thank you, by the way, because I totally tried to I tried to go coast to coast and get all the I didn't take breaks. Like today, the Bachelor will go out, say a few names, excuse himself, walk off set, come back in, collect himself, get the names, go back. I tried to go like 16 for 16. And after a couple of vodka sodas, that never really that doesn't go great at like 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So yes, I did.
I do
that was one of my first pieces of advice for him, by the way. Just don't forget names.
I do think people forget how long you guys are filming, though, right? Like you just said, a couple of vodka sodas at 6:30 in the morning. It's a long night without sleep, right?
It's got to be like I haven't been on that many TV shows, but it's got to be like one of the longest nights of TV ever, because that cocktail party or the limos, I want to say they start to arrive at like basically when it gets dark, so like 7:00, and then I mean you see it on TV like when the women are leaving the house after the first rose ceremony, there's like legit sunlight outside. It's like 8:30 in the morning. It's just like it's a banger. It's an all-nighter. It just goes.
When do you sleep after that? I feel like I've never actually asked that question. So when do you get to sleep after that?
Well, that's actually interesting because I still have to go back to the house the next morning when they all move into the house. And then I drop the first date card. That's like hours after that. So it's like you can kind of go, I go back to the hotel, I sleep for like 2 hours, but then you just get right back up and go back. And you're just like running on adrenaline and fumes. I may or may not have missed the table like 20 times the card. Got the card right here. It like flippers off. I'm like, damn it, got the card. So it's a long day for sure. You feel like a zombie.
You obviously have the football background, and I think what is fun about Bachelor Nation and the way the show has changed is how people really do view it as a sport sometimes. You get the Bachelor fantasy leagues and they do drafts and they pick the girls or the guys. How do you think these two things kind of intersect? Because now you got your toes in both things.
Yeah, it's so interesting. It's really, it's amazing how much people's, I guess, concept or feeling of the show has changed since I did it. Like when I did it in 2004, like reality TV was kind of a new thing. And the show was new. The show was sort of figuring itself out. I remember playing on the Giants and having to like explain to everybody in the locker room what I was doing. Like first off, explain the whole reality thing. They're like, no, but like, how do you memorize the script? Like, I'm like, no, it's reality TV. There's just people with cameras. They follow you around. And they're like, great, what do you do on the show? And I'm like, well, you're trying to, you're looking for love and you're going to hopefully get engaged in the end. They're like, dude, you play quarterback on the Giants. Like, why are you going on? That's embarrassing. Why are you going on that show? Today in like 2022, like people get high fives for going on the show. Like everyone's like congratulating people. People are excited for you. Oh my God, it's a huge opportunity that Clayton gets to do this. It's amazing. And, it's just, there's been like a total 180. It's such a big part of pop culture now. And you're right. There's Bachelor Nation, and there's like fantasy leagues and like draft pools and watch parties. And I think too, it's amazing that like guys, guys in general have gotten better over the last 2 decades at like opening up and sort of, having feelings and doing it on air. And it's amazing. And you notice how every year too, there's like football players all the time. There always ends up being a football player somewhere on a Bachelorette.
Yep.
Yeah, always. It's like we've gone from like being these guys that are like internalize everything, never admit weakness, figure it out, like play the next play. And it's now there's more and more football players that are comfortable just being like, dude, I wanna find love. I'll do it on TV, and I'll go on group dates. And
there's some guy on the Giants right now being like,
do it.
One day I'll be on The Bachelor.
Yeah, exactly. It's totally flipped now.
It's cyclical though. You can't. Now it's got to be like a Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
You got to like cycle.
Yes.
And you can't have 2 from the same division. There should be a whole set of rules.
Absolutely. That is very funny. We Clayton on that first night just seemed so excited and so happy to be there. Did you get those feelings from him as well? And were you like worried that maybe he didn't know what he was getting himself into?
Yeah, great question. So I love Clayton. The thing I think I like the most about him is that he really is a genuine, sweet, humble guy. And he's so hopeful. Like Clayton, I don't know if I've ever met a guy that wants to get married as bad as Clayton and have kids. I think people who saw him on Michelle's season, like you remember when he was like crying, talking about it? Like Clayton's a big, tough, macho man guy, but he wears his heart on his sleeve. And when he talks about that, you really see and you feel just how bad he wants it. Because of that, he puts a lot of pressure on himself. Like that first night, I remember. So what was kind of cool too is I never met Clayton before he got out of the limo. I really wanted that to be like a real, authentic moment. And so, I'd heard about him and read about him, but getting to know him, we just clicked so much more than what I could have anticipated. His face, I remember watching him when the women were coming out of the limo. He was like he would look over and be like, and I was like, hell yeah, there's like 3 more limos coming. Or don't go in. Like, remember, he actually went inside. He was like, I just want you guys all to know you're amazing. I'm loving this. I got to go back. And then he like bailed again. It's like, dude, relax. Like, there's more limos. This thing is not, we're in like the first quarter. This thing is like, we're just getting going.